Stories.
Questions to me, or do I?
Yeah, we actually have a sheet of questions. One of the more inspirational women in my life presently, I'd have to say, is a woman by the name of Dr. Rowan Crow, and she is a professor at the University of Winnipeg, and she is a very active feminist leader. I'd like to call her a leader. She probably wouldn't appreciate that, but she is a feminist activist in our community, and she's not even born in Manitoba and Winnipeg, but she does so much for the community and the university, and she has all these causes, and she's just like a mother to everyone. And I took her course last year called Feminist Productions, and she was very encouraging and nurturing, and she wasn't judgmental or biased on things that I had to say or bring to the table. I'm not exactly the most, I'm not a women and gender studies scholar. I have studied a bit here and there, but it's nothing I'm majoring in. But she was very encouraging, and she allowed me to find a medium to I guess, reflect how I feel about different feminisms, and whatever medium I knew I could find, she allowed me to channel that and find it. So I think Rowan's rad.
My own story, I call myself as part of the second wave of feminism, and I'm the mother of Hope McIntyre, and I'm thinking that probably that's something that I've passed on to her in some small way, the whole notion of feminism. I'm concerned about the role of women in our society. I don't want to say this in a critical way, but I think that young women are now benefiting in some ways from some of the work that we did, and don't know the history and don't understand how easily we could lose the gains that we've made, and perhaps don't understand that we're not there yet, that women in Canadian society are still not truly equal. And although we are much further ahead than women of many other countries.
A lot is my mother. When I was little, she did poetry readings at the West End Cultural Center, and they used to scare the hell out of me. She had this one where she would wear a balaclava, and she had a spade, and she would talk about how if they're going to come and get her and bury her, they better bury her deep, and it was all about the banks coming and foreclosing on small farms and things like that. And at the time, I had no idea what that was about. I just knew that my mom was wearing a balaclava and talking about being buried, and it was really frightening. But I found her really, really inspirational, believe it or not. That image stuck with me till now and forever, so that was pretty inspirational.
I think I know many amazing women, and it was hard when I was asked to do this to pick one, so I guess the one I would focus on would be Kathy Knowles. She is a friend and neighbor of mine, and she lived with her husband in Ghana while he was working there, and started reading to her children under a tree, and other neighborhood children came to her and wanted to listen to these stories, and out of this just grew an organization. It started with a garage library, and it's grown into a huge nonprofit organization with hundreds of libraries all over West Africa and now other parts of the world as well. And I think she's just a fabulous example of starting with what you have and with what you know, and going step by step, and growing an idea and growing a passion into something so big, and that helps so many people.
Well, I guess I wanted to talk about my mom. She's spent most of my childhood as a stay-at-home mom, but within the past 10 years or so, she's gradually been involving herself more with photography, so she's getting really busy with that now, and she's in a mentorship program with MAWA, and she's really focused on her art form, but still at the same time, she's always available to help me with anything. She really takes out a lot of time for me. And even though she's been so busy starting this mentorship program and trying to perfect her photography and writing her artist statements and getting her photography out there, she still takes time for me. Like today, she's taking my headshots for acting. So even though she was complaining about how busy she's getting, she still took off her whole afternoon to take pictures for me. So she is very inspiring because she takes time for her family, but she also pursues her own interests as well.
When I was a teenager, about 16 years old, I was a bit of a bookworm. I wandered through the library at the school, and in there came across this book. It's kind of one of those cheesy, romantic historian kind of things, and it was called Child of the Sun. And so I kind of just picked it up because I liked the cover, and it ended up being a fictional story about this female pharaoh named Hatshepsut. She was part of the golden age of Egypt, and it kind of taught me that the whole concept of women being in charge, women being leaders, were not to be, you know, this stereotype bossy boots or emotional or anything like that. They can be powerful, intelligent, capable, more capable than most of the men around them, and they could make a difference. And that it's history that basically buried these women. She was one of many I later on discovered, but it really kind of showed me how women had a very powerful and strong influence on current even society in what they had done thousands of years ago that we are just finally starting to recognize.
Who's this?
This is Judy Halliday. That's who.
Okay, so an interesting thing about Judy Holliday is she didn't seem to like acting very much, and one of the most interesting things she said was acting is a very limiting profession, and those who take it seriously are very limited. I take it seriously, which is really interesting because she wasn't very limited. She was limited in the opportunities that she had, in roles that she had, but she was not limited in intellect. So that was a really interesting quote from her.
I'm lucky enough to live in Chicago with 6 of my best female friends. We are all artists that live in the city together and create together. I feel really lucky that when I was in college in Ohio, I'm from the States, from Chicago, that I met these women. We're all kind of like-minded, but we're all strong and have different skill sets. And you know, I'm an only child, and I think it's rare to create female friendships that feel truly like your family members. And the 6 of us all love each other and trust each other, confide in each other, cry to each other, yell at each other, and we're told often by the people around us that we don't even act like friends. Our energy is just like so different, so intense, and I feel really blessed to have those kind of women in my life, and I hope all females feel that way about one person or many people in their lives, whether they're family or friends.